Pow. His music. I have intro music? Am I like a wrestler? Should I actually set this up so that I have like my own theme music? MJK, you wrong. It is Josh. What's going on, everybody? Cheers. Happy Sunday. Nice little 3-gamer. Just existing with the conference title games going on right now. You can't see it. I'm pointing this way, but got the game on. So, I'm going to be doing one of these jobs for a while. I'm going to take a quick lap through all 3 games, and then we could just take a bunch of questions and stuff. This is going to be a little more free than it normally is. Not necessarily in price. I know people complain about that, but not a lot to talk about. So let's just start it off here. First and foremost, if you'd like, hit that like button. I'd appreciate it. Other than that, NBA Strategy is the promo code. 50% off your first monthly package if you're interested in hanging out with Awesomo full time. Come into Slack and kick it for a bit. Alrighty, so Pacers and Hornets. All right, let me get my Twitter list back up just in case. As of right now, the only news that appears to be relevant is waiting on Lou Will. And it's weird because we got news that Gallo is officially out. That came out, 15, 20 minutes ago? So we have that. You would expect to get the Lou Williams news. Didn't happen. I don't even know if we're going to get it before lock. They mentioned on Friday that Lou Will probably wasn't expected to play is the safest way to say that. And still questionable. So for right now, I have him in, ready to pivot if need be. Not super worried about it outside of not really liking Harrell. If he's out, he's been really not awesome with Lou Will not on the floor. So DeRozan too, I guess. I'm treating DeRozan like he's in right now. And I'm playing him pretty heavily. But I will need that news for sure. More important to me than the Lou Will news. I'm pretty comfortable with DeMar. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't be. What's the most recent note here? He's probable. So yeah, I trust it. Yeah, I know what Doc said. What's the quote here? Doc Rivers even dropped a for sure that he was not expecting Williams to suit up. But look, if he's questionable, I can't just go by coach speak 2 days out. So we'll see it. It's obviously not that cut and dry if Gallo is out and we don't have Lou Williams news. That's the easiest thing that I can say. Yeah, Cossack, you nailed that one. Harrell, significantly better from a fantasy perspective with Lou Will on the floor. Laffy and I dove into that one. I think it was Laffy and I. Either me and Laffy or me and Adam dove into that pretty heavily earlier in the season when Lou Will missed that stretch of time. And it was really dramatic. So something to keep in mind. Those numbers have held. I'm going to work my way through this now. Rams ball, play action, Goff up top, hooks. Ugh. Anyway, back to the good stuff. Back to the basketball. Yeah, look, I understand that Doc said he expects Lou Will to miss 2 games, but we have Gallo news and we don't have Lou Will news, which means it's not that cut and dry or he'd already be out. Anyway, Pacers side. Lots of expected ownership to Victor Oladipo. That should not be that surprising. 8-point favorites here against the Hornets. Hornets defense has been dreadful lately. Just downright dreadful. 7% worse on a per possession basis than average. I am continuing to ride the Victor Oladipo train. I love him for $28 on Yahoo. I think that's a fantastic price. He is ranked 3rd for me on FanDuel. I will happily go to him. I did on my my placeholder crunch. So Oladipo got 47% of my FanDuel exposure originally. It's all going to DeRozan, Booker, and Oladipo. I'm not trying to get too cute here. So clearly, big fan of Victor Oladipo tonight. After that, it'd be easier to just look at it like this. Is that a decent visual? Team. You know what? That's not the worst visual in the world. It might make it easier to talk about. Love Oladipo. Goes without saying. I expect to be over the field, or at least that's my plan. I'm getting my Slack notifications while I'm it's because I'm away. Set myself to active. There we go. That makes way more sense. All right, circling back here. Turner and Sabonis. I prefer Turner to Sabonis. Turner getting a little bit less love. I actually have Sabonis at 18% under the field. I've got Turner 23. It looks like the public is about the inverse of that right now. The guy that I'm getting the most of that I was surprised by, and I got him a lot on Yahoo in particular, Bojan Bogdanovich, $18. He's my number 2 small forward. Just popping up really nicely at that price. I really like a lot of this Pacers side. I have a lineup on Yahoo with Tyreek. Believe I have one with Collison as well. Let me double check that. Might just be Tyreek. Yeah, I think it was just Tyreek. Tyreek had me in 11th a couple days ago on Yahoo, putting up however many fantasy points in like 14 minutes or something ridiculous. It's really hard to avoid the Pacers here, but I think Victor Oladipo is the clear best play, and I will continue to go to Oladipo as long as he continues to play mid-30s minutes, and this matchup doesn't get much better. These guys are priced a lot better on FanDuel too, comparatively speaking to DK. So keep that in mind when you're making the lineups. Yeah, we'll get to that Suns-Wolves game right after this. As we go to the Hornets now, MKG is the guy that's getting the most love in the FanDuel ownership projections. He's at 3,800. I think that's low at 20%. So I ran my sim earlier today. Do I have this in for Yahoo right now? Yeah, I do. Let's rerun this for FanDuel. I want to show everybody what I'm looking at here. Let's drop that in there. 0.5. Fresh. FanDuel. And run. So MKG popping up a lot in ownership, 20%. And I think we're probably undervaluing him at that number. Small forward is super, super flat today on FanDuel. And if you have any sort of aversion to going to DeMar DeRozan, which you shouldn't, I'd have a hard time not recommending a guy that is probable. After that, you're making your decisions based on guys that aren't that great. And if you have the ability to feel comfortable about a punt on FanDuel, I think that MKG is probably your best option. Now, remember, he is still MKG. It's not as if he's going to be some dramatically different player. But you'll see here, he ranks second for me in the amount of times that he's a top 3 value on FanDuel. I'll drill down even a little bit further by sorting this and just looking at the small forward position. And I think that'll tell a little bit better of a story. So MKG is at 3,800. I need him to get to a little over 30. 33.4 fantasy points will be my intended target. He gets to that number. He has the best value. He's a top 3 value 55% of the time. Second highest number, just slightly under TJ Warren. Wait, this is not filtered correctly. It shouldn't be TJ Warren. Oh yeah, DeMar's a shooting guard. Ignore me. DeMar is a small forward on Yahoo. I had Yahoo up here originally. DeMar shooting guard on FanDuel, obviously. So ignore whatever I was just saying about DeMar at small forward. TJ Warren, though, is my number one guy at small forward. Everything that we're looking at is accurate. But if I know that he can be that sort of value that often, I'm in for MKG. It makes it the easiest spot to punt, especially if we're only getting 20% projected ownership on MKG. I'll be over that number. Specifically, 56%. I'm willing to punt small forward. It's not that appealing if you look at his recent game logs, but the minutes are starting to creep back up. 24 in the most recent game against Phoenix. Got 30 here, 25, 26. Now that Zeller's not there, he can play more minutes at the 5 or the Marvin Williams at the 5 type lineups. But MKG is the guy that I want to pay down for the most today. Talk DK, FanDuel blows. It happens. It happens. Let me hop back to this. Ooh, I need to close that model file. It is killing me. Save. What about Rudy Gay at small forward? He would be third for me. I need to close all this stuff. Got a memory leak somewhere in my model file. I can't really figure out where it is. But if we're talking Charlotte, MKG is the guy I want the most. Followed up by Kemba. 9,300 on FanDuel is really not that appealing of a price tag. 8,100 on DraftKings, though. I'm fine with that. He comes out as my number 3 point guard. And then on Yahoo for $34, I'm in. I want to have some. So sign me up there. Otherwise, it's really not that appealing of a team. I haven't really looked at Jeremy Lamb or Marvin Williams or Bismack. I do have a couple lineups on Yahoo with Batum, who's been playing a bit better as of late. Otherwise, I want more of Indiana here. So I like Miles Turner and Thad Young. I do indeed. And now on DraftKings, I think that Thad is a bit overpriced at $6,100. You can make your money work a little bit better. Oh, shout out, Tom. Thank you for letting me know that ownership is updated. Still no Lou Will news, officially speaking. That is kind of a bummer. I don't know why that question just got asked in that MMA chat, but alrighty. Let's move on to this game because it's most important. Minnesota Timberwolves hosting the Phoenix Suns. 121.25 implied total for the Wolves, 108.75 for the Suns. The Phoenix Suns will be without DeAndre Ayton. They will be without Richaun Holmes. And if that sounds weird, it is. They have played basically 0 minutes without those guys on the floor. It's like 30 for the most specific guy. I don't know what Phoenix is going to do. They're going to have to allocate for this basically this entire season. They have allocated 48 minutes to DeAndre Ayton and to Richaun Holmes. If you project DeAndre Ayton for 30 minutes, you should pretty naturally project Holmes for 18. Whatever that difference is. Neither one of those guys is in today. And clearly that makes projecting this stuff difficult. I have given Quincy AC 24 minutes. I have given Dragan Bender 18. I gave Ryan Anderson 6. I don't really know what other stand I can take there. I think that Quincy AC has to be the guy that gets the bulk of the run. I'm not totally confident in that. You can pretty easily flip-flop AC and Bender in this spot, and I wouldn't really have much of an issue. Bender's played in 3 games in the last month. The most that he played was 12 minutes. Quincy AC has played 9 minutes at most in the last 6. So I'm more confident that Quincy AC is sort of like the first man up. However, wasn't exactly active up until January 8th, and he got picked up by the Suns. So I have a hard time seeing him just soaking up a ton of minutes. That's why I can't go much higher than 24. It scares me a bit, but I don't really know how else to break that up. So if you're looking at the projections, I don't think that anybody is confident in this role. But if you feel a little bit differently, don't be afraid to take a look at my projections and, piece that out on a per minute basis and then bump up Bender if you think that he gets more minutes. We're all working with the same amount of information here, and that's to say that we don't have any. But I am assuming that Quincy AC is the biggest beneficiary of the minutes. Now, with that said, I have very little interest in these guys. I'm going to switch here to go from Charlotte and Indiana to Phoenix and Minnesota. I love Devin Booker. I love TJ Warren. I think both of those guys stand out. Booker at 8,100. There's real ceiling there. I am nervous about, this game, but I can't. It's not as if I'm going to be projecting worrying about a blowout on this 3-game slate. I'm going to hope that Devin Booker keeps it close. He's getting a ton of ownership, which is a little scary. He's at 50%, but that's what happens with that price tag and the lack of DeAndre Ayton. So I love Booker across the board. I love TJ Warren across the board. Maybe a little bit less so on DK. Just the price is just a hair better on FanDuel. On DraftKings, I think you probably want to take a closer look at someone like Josh Jackson for 3,900. That's probably a little bit easier. If you need to go, I would probably prefer Jackson to Warren on DK. And then if you want to go to Kelly Oubre, I think that's okay. But he is 32% owned on FanDuel. I got 1%. I'm going to have a hard time being anywhere near the field on Oubre. I know he's playing better. He's been a monster lately. But being at 5,900 now is different than Kelly Oubre putting those games up at 3,800 or 4,900. So I'm ignoring most of Kelly Oubre in this spot. You'll also see 13% Quincy AC at flat minimum. I think that's fine. You'll also see absolutely no Dragan Bender. In theory, I could probably split that exposure between AC and Bender. But when push comes to shove, I'm really not that interested in having either one of these guys. I don't think they're very good. Even in 24 minutes, I only project Quincy AC for 16 points. He just doesn't simply get there all that often in this spot. At least not at that 24-minute number. And I just have a hard time going higher than that. So I'm really not focused that much on Phoenix. It's really just Booker and Warren for me. Now on the Minnesota side, however, these guys are in shambles. Phoenix, that is. To not have your starting center or your backup center, look, it's not as if DeAndre Ayton and Rashawn Holmes are some sort of fantastic defensive stalwarts. They're both not great defensively. However, when those minutes have to get reallocated to a guy you just signed a couple weeks ago, a guy that's been buried at the end of the bench, and another guy that's been buried at the end of the bench, so much so, in fact, that Ryan Anderson has not seen the floor in the last 30 days, that's a problem. Any other center in the world, I probably assume smashes here. Pacers starting lineup: Collison, Oladipo, Bogdanovich, Young, and Turner. No surprises. Walker, Lamb, Batum, Williams, Biyombo on the Hornets. Just in case anybody had to care there. I could see Towns being passive here, even though that he should just eat Quincy AC up and eat Dragan Bender up and eat Ryan Anderson up and eat whoever up, he's still Karl Anthony Towns. And while he grades out well, and I have a ton of him, he scares me. He absolutely, positively scares me. Because this could just be a game where Towns is passive and Andrew Wiggins goes bonkers. But I'm going to put my money where my ownership is. Put my mouth where my ownership is. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Here's the deal. I'm nervous about Karl Anthony Towns, but it's not keeping me off of him. I have him in 58% of my lineups right now on FanDuel. On DraftKings, where he is 10-6, I think that you can make some changes and drop down a bit. He is $300 more expensive on DraftKings. That's not usually that appealing. But I don't think you'll find a better spot in the entire league all year than Karl Anthony Towns taking on the Suns without DeAndre Ayton and without Rashawn Holmes. You got to hope he gets there, though. There's a lot of mouths to feed now. Rose is healthy. Teague is healthy. Wiggins is healthy. And if you're nervous about the blowout, which I think is a reasonable stance, but it's not something that I project, you need to hope the Towns gets there early. So I have a lot because Phoenix doesn't have anybody that can check him. Make sure your lineup construction looks good on those. It's not the only guy I want from Minnesota, though. The guy that I want the most, Jeff Teague. Teague is 6,300 on FanDuel. He's 6,300 on DraftKings. He's $20 on Yahoo. The $20 price tag on Yahoo is the most egregious for me. He's my number one guy on Yahoo today. Now, again, these guys are significantly better priced on FanDuel. Towns, Wiggins, Teague, Rose, all these guys. You can see the column here. Everything here is in orange. Dario Saric, 3,800, I think, is a functional punt today. I love Teague. I love Towns. Derrick Rose getting 30% of ownership from me, and I think I'm happy with that. Dario Saric, again, I'm trying to use as a potential punt play. I feel more comfortable using Saric as a punt play than someone like Dragan Bender, and that probably makes me a little nervous. But there could be additional minutes here for Saric. He did pick up some run with the centers in foul trouble. Played 28 minutes the last time out. Just still a little passive. But hopefully the extra minutes will tip him off a little bit. So Towns and Teague are the clear stars here. I don't think that I'm making anything up either. I'm getting notification after notification. Spencer Ware active. Goff to Higbee. Cool. Goff throws a touchdown pass to the only guy that I don't have. Make Towns your punt. Teague, Towns, Rose. Saric is fine as a punt play. Wiggins for 17%. I'm going to end up being pretty significantly under the field here, but I do need to have some coverage. I think a little bit of Taj Gibson at 5K is reasonable. And then I'm willing to take a shot on Josh Okogie to see if he gets any additional run in a big game. That's probably it for me in this game. Obviously, it's going to be a really unique experience watching Phoenix, so keep a close eye on it. I wish that I can give more detailed thoughts on the Suns, but to think about how they're going to be able to play without the 48 minutes they normally get at center is pretty unique. And who knows what Kokoshkov can do. It's not as if we've had a different season of information on him that would lead us down a particular path. We're flying pretty blind here. So if you think Ryan Anderson is the guy that gets 24 minutes, by all means, you can get all of these guys at next to no price. So I have these minutes and everything projected the way that I think it's going to go. You can go a couple different directions, and I wouldn't think you were crazy. Now we'll fly through the Spurs and Clippers as I take a sip of beer. Alrighty. Spurs, 115.25 implied total. Clippers, 105.75. That's a nice pace up spot for the Spurs. Clippers defense hasn't been fantastic lately. this game I love. I have been pounding DeMar DeRozan lately. I've been pounding LaMarcus Aldridge lately. They're chalky. But DeRozan, 8,400 on both sites, 33 on Yahoo. He's my second favorite play, or at least maybe tied for my favorite play with Jeff Teague on Yahoo. I'm going very heavily with DeMar DeRozan. I'm going very heavily with LaMarcus Aldridge. I just don't see a way around it here. As you can see, both guys 53 and 60, kind of trying to fly with the public. I love Derek White. 33% of my ownership right now. 24% to Rudy Gay, 20% to Forbes. I even have 16% for Bertans, who's continuing to get minutes. Played 29 minutes against Minnesota, even still with Gay back. I just like having a lot of the Spurs here. Another team that's significantly better priced on FanDuel than they are on DK. If I'm looking at them on DK, I probably prefer DeRozan to Aldridge. And then I definitely prefer Derek White to Bryn Forbes. Rudy Gay for 5,500 is just really not that appealing on DK. I like Forbes a decent amount on Yahoo at only $11. It's just really easy to get to the Spurs. Now let's talk about the Clippers. Again, as of right now, Lou Will is questionable. I understand what Doc Rivers said on Friday about him being out, but he is questionable. We have received word that Danilo Gallinari is out. We did not get word on Lou Williams, which leads me to believe that this is not as cut and dry as it should be. Be prepared for that. If we're talking about the Clippers, I love Tobias Harris with Gallo out. He hit my 60% cap. I just want to have some Tobias Harris. He is not that owned, only 24% on FanDuel, so I am crushing Tobias Harris. I will have Gilgeous-Alexander for $3,600 on FanDuel, whether or not Lou Williams is playing. He's at 79% ownership, which is a massive number. But I'm not super worried about that. One, Lou Will could play. If you made me put money on it, I would probably bet against it, but it's close. So I understand why Gilgeous-Alexander is going to be this owned. It makes sense to me. I think that he's probably too owned. But I get it. It's a decent punt play. I'm punting in other spots. Now, I will have a couple shares of Lou Williams, 6,900. Probably shouldn't. That's FanDuel for you. I think Pat Bev works a little bit at 44, and I'm going to have almost no Montrezl Harrell. He's 8,200 on FanDuel. If you want to play Montrezl Harrell for 6,900 on DraftKings, kudos. Go for it. No issue there whatsoever. 8,200, I don't need to be there. Jeff Teague questionable Sunday now with an illness. Awesome. He's not going to play. Hit that like button, everybody. 50% off if you use the code NBA strategy. Link is in the chat. Oh. Alrighty. If Jeff Teague does not play, fire up your Derrick Rose and Josh Okogie shares for sure. I don't even know what to say right now. That is so unappealing. I just got done talking about how much I like Jeff Teague. And here comes the DFS industry to just swift kick me right in the nads. At least it's a 7 o'clock game, I guess. I would definitely prefer Rose to Wiggins in this spot. simply because Rose stands to pick up minutes while Wiggins doesn't necessarily have to do that. Oh God, that is so unappealing. All right, let's take a peek at it to see what would happen if he comes out. We'll walk through that scenario. Yeah, don't. Oh, Jared Bayless. Good God. All right. Let's say that Jeff Teague is out. Jared Bayless probably has to play like 18 minutes. And Derrick Rose probably gets like 34. And I think Okogie probably naturally gets up into the 20, like 29 range. That's still 12 more minutes. Let's take a look at Minnesota's depth chart. I mean, they could dust off a little bit of Luol Deng. Lou Williams out. At least we got it. Okay, let's do this. Let's skip the Jeff Green walkthrough right now. Delete. That should be a 0. Here we go. Yeah, Derek Nolan. No, he hasn't. He literally just got ruled out. But cool. All right, let's get Lou Williams out of there. We'll take a closer look at everything. Alrighty. 0 for Lou Will, which means Gilgeous-Alexander is going to get more minutes. Let's give him 32 for right now. I think giving Wallace 20 is reasonable. I think Avery Bradley gets up in minutes. Boy, this is gross. What else we got? Where else can we go? Already got Mike Scott at 19. Pat Bev can probably get an additional minute. Toby probably moves. I already got him at 36. I think we could probably give Thornwell a couple minutes. Jerome Robinson a couple minutes. And for those of you that are premium subs, go ahead and grab your update. Projections are out. Lou Will news official. DeMar DeRozan officially in. For anybody that was nervous. Shouldn't have been nervous, but officially in now. Alrighty. Man, that Jeff Teague news is super tilting. I don't really know what to do with that information. But let's take a look and see how this Clippers news impacts everything. We will drop projections in. Let's give it a peek. Yeah, I would not expect Jeff Teague to play now. You rarely see people get ruled questionable this late and then come back in. It happens, but I'd say he's more than 50-50 to not play now. Keep that in mind if you liked Teague as much as I did. Ugh. That is just not nice. Thanks, Wolves. Much obliged. And shout out to the Clips for getting Lou Williams out now. That's helpful. Alrighty. Let's take a look at the impact to FanDuel and the Lou Williams news. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander now jumps to the top of my point guard list. That should not be terribly shocking. He is already projected to be heavily owned. He finishes as a top scoring or a top value point guard, top 3 at point guard, 75% of the time. I don't want to go into the 70s for him for exposure. I would prefer to be in like the 50s to 60s, but Gilgeous-Alexander pretty clearly a fantastic play. If you pull Jeff Teague out of this player pool, that is not appealing, man. It certainly makes Derrick Rose bigger, but there's going to be a very heavy push for the Kemba, Derek White section. So, feel free to get your Gilgeous-Alexander. Nothing really different for me at shooting guard right now. 3 priorities are still DeMar, Booker, Oladipo, and then to a lesser extent, Wiggins. Small forward is still TJ Warren and MKG for me. Power forward is very clearly Tobias Harris and Aldridge, and then center is pretty clearly Towns. SGA didn't do anything the last time they played. Hope he works for you. Imagine thinking that the last time they played mattered. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is set to soak up a lot of minutes at a $100 more than the minimum salary on FanDuel today. So the way that he plays is almost irrelevant. But I do like the idea of trying to go a different direction than Gilgeous-Alexander. If ownership is at 70%, I like coming in at like 50 to 60. That's where I'm at. Oh, I lost my game. There we go. Back in business. So I think that's probably a pretty reasonable outlook now. I'm going to go ahead. Ooh, Dragan Bender starting for DeAndre Ayton. So we're going to go ahead and make that update a little bit too. I think that I can comfortably, well, maybe not comfortably, but I'm going to pull those minutes from Anderson. I'm going to give 24 to Bender and 24 to AC. Let's get these updated for everybody. Alrighty. Projections updated for the Bender news right now. I almost called him Jonathan Bender. It's a much different Bender. Let's go ahead and recrunch FanDuel and see where we end up. I would have liked to do. I'm going to have to rerun the old sim to check it out. And for me, I didn't have any Lou Will on Yahoo tonight, so I don't really feel the need to update for that. But let's go ahead and update and figure out what we want to do with Bender's additional minutes. There's something to be done there. I just don't know what it is. I'd be very surprised if Bender is super chalky, but we'll find out. I'll be able to point in a much better direction. He didn't grade out all that well at 18 minutes, so we'll see what he looks like at 24. I don't think that Gilgeous-Alexander is a fantastic play on DraftKings, but I'll circle back over there and take a look at it. I know he's slightly expensive. Cal cool. Dragan Bender just got 2 fouls. Yeah, he certainly might have. And this CJ Anderson thing, kind of weird. I'm going to have to manually cap Jeff Teague, which is less than appealing. Alrighty. So, Sim is run. 5,000 individual slates. All ready to go and look at. Even with the bump for me to put Bender at 24 minutes, he is the 10th best power forward option. I would not recommend Dragan Bender. He is not going to be a guy that shows up in the majority of my lineups. There you go. So let's go ahead and crunch and take a peek. See which direction we go now. The fresh crunch, haven't looked at it yet. You know, we are running this together. The only thing that I'm going to do now because of Jeff Teague's questionable tag. Actually, I need to remove projections first. I do not see me playing that much Jeff Teague now. My projections. Where's Teague hiding? Oh, I need all games. There we go. I'm going to cap Jeff Teague at 10%. I'm not really comfortable with that, yet here we are. Oops, forgot to change everybody's exposures. Alrighty. 17 minutes, people. If you need to get your stuff in, get ready. All right, point guard shaking out like this. Nope, not at all. Not what I wanted. Teague 10. Now we'll crunch. Gilgeous-Alexander's going to hit my cap, but I'm going to come in under the field. And then you can see the breakdown here. It's a lot of Derek White, Derrick Rose, Kemba Walker, Bryn Forbes. Point guard going to look really, really similar to a lot of other people. And that's why I like to look at those sims. Because you'll see guys that finish in the top 3 that you don't see as much. I think that's very, it's something to really keep in mind. It's something that I paid really close attention to the night of the Rozier chalk, in that I don't think that it was super optimal to be at 90% with the field. There were very realistic chances for 2 or 3 other punt plays to be in that ballpark from a value perspective. We got 150 yet? 141. Okay. I'm really excited to eat a pizza after this. It is going to be scrumptious. I love it. Ooh, Rams kicking a field goal to tie the game. .507 remaining. Snap. Kick. Got it. 20 apiece. 20 apiece. All right, so here's the final crunch now. Well, no, not final crunch, but here is the crunch for FanDuel. And we'll sort this out by exposure so everybody can take a look. Gilgeous-Alexander coming in at 65%. We've got Rose, White, and Kemba all in the 27 to 30% range. We take a step back to Bryn Forbes and then go to Corey Joseph and Jeff Teague capped at 10. Not super appealing for me right now, but I don't have much of a choice. I can't trust his ability to be on the floor today. At shooting guard, CSV edit here, download template, FanDuel upload template. Yes, open. So DeMar is pretty clearly still my number 1 guy at shooting guard, but it's mostly just a rotation of DeMar, Devin Booker, and Victor Oladipo. with a very small amount of Andrew Wiggins. I just want to rotate through these guys. I think they have very clearly the best opportunities to put up valuable scores. I don't want to dumpster dive. Small forward. It's TJ Warren and it's MKG for me. I prefer MKG as a punt today more than anything outside of, I guess, Gilgeous-Alexander. But if you can get MKG at a significantly reduced price, I think that's the spot to do it. Bojan and Rudy Gay coming in the mid-20s. At power forward, it's still pretty clearly Tobias Harris for me. This team is his when Gallo is not there. Aldridge a close second, and then feel free to rotate through everything else that is there, whether that's the Thad Young and Sabonis's of the world, or if you want to punt with a Saric or Bender, or even if you want something steady like Taj. But Tobias Harris and LaMarcus Aldridge are the crown jewels at power forward. Finally, at center, it's just too easy to get to Karl Towns now. So go to Karl Anthony Towns. I'm going there with abundance. Miles Turner coming in a close second, and then I'm rotating through the garbage at the bottom because I feel like I have to. A little bit late on that questionable tag there, but we'll take it. So that's where I'm at on exposures for FanDuel. Premium Slack. Start getting your questions in. If you want to, I'm going to just take questions for the rest of this time. I keep getting stuck between a small forward choice of Gay or Bogdan. I assume you mean Bojan. Bogdan is on the Kings. Really easy to get your Bogdanoviches confused. You don't want to do that. Definitely don't play Bogdan. I say that because, well, he's not on this slate. You'll probably get a 0. But if you're playing on FanDuel, I guess you can drop that score. Make sure you give me the site too, by the way. So, Rainmaker, I see that you have small forward Gay Bogdan. Can you just let me know which site you're looking at? I can tell you this much. If the site is FanDuel, they are separated literally by 0.1% for me. Bojan should soak up 25% of the ownership, 24.9% of the ownership. Rudy Gay, 24.8. Wow. We got it. FanDuel. This is going to be one of those spots where you really need to pay attention to the ownership. Bogdanovich projected for 15% right now. Rudy Gay projected for 53. If that is true, and I want to double check that because that's a big Rudy Gay number. No, it's true. Bojan Bogdanović is a much better play than Rudy Gay, given the ownership. Manningdale City. Well, I love doing a show on Sunday, man. We got football going on here. NBA here. I've been hanging out. I did Sirius this morning with Laffy and Manny. We did the 4-way, the roundtable football show today, which is one of our most successful football shows we've done that didn't have Alex and Evan Silva on it. So really proud of that. It's just been a good content day. DeRozan or Booker on DraftKings? Let's take a look. If I were picking between, I mean, I'm almost positive it's DeRozan. Oh, it's Booker. Okay. It's close. Tie goes to Booker, though. So give me Devin Booker. FanDuel, Oladipo and Thad, or DeRozan and Marvin Williams. Oh, man, that's a tough one. Let's take a look at the sim. So we had Oladipo and Thad, 62, or DeRozan and Marvin Williams, 59. Give me Oladipo and Thad. If I'm playing one lineup on FanDuel, who out of DeRozan, Booker, and Oladipo would I take? Let me just look at the ownership. That's sort of the most important in that scenario. I find all three guys to be really, really, really close. I think that Devin Booker would be my man. I'm gonna go with DeRozan and Booker if you have the money. Booker, Kemba, DeRozan on DK. Rank them. Okay. Rob, is the Awesomo badge promotion still active? I believe that it is. I got your email this morning and forwarded it along to Brett, who is our social media manager. I assume that he just didn't get to you on a Sunday, so my apologies. I would imagine you'll hear something tomorrow. What the hell was I looking at? Oh yeah, Booker, Kemba, DeRozan on DK. I think my memory's shit, guys. Booker, Rosen, and Kemba. Yeah, so this one's tight. I'll prioritize Booker, then DeRozan, then Kemba. So in the order you gave them to me. Oladipo, Thad, DeRozan, Marvin Williams. Is that the same question? It is. Tapiana, I answered that one. I don't know what's happening in this game now, but I hope that Todd Gurley has still been doing nothing. I didn't play a single lineup with Todd Gurley today. I could have really done without that touchdown. If I had to choose between one pacer, who would it be for a DK GPP? Victor Oladipo. Although Sabonis is close, so I don't really know if they have wildly different exposures. Nope. Yeah, it's still Oladipo for me. Love the. If you finish a top 3 in like I'm gonna get the details wrong off the top of my head. If you finish in the top 3 in a tournament that had 5,000 people or more in it, you get a free month. I haven't been told that it's stopped, so I believe that it's still going. If it's not still going, my apologies. Who do I like more matchup-wise for FanDuel, DDR or LaMarcus Aldridge? I prefer DeMar DeRozan on DraftKings. I don't really think about it from a matchup perspective. On FanDuel, just in case that's relevant. There's the frozen model file. It has something to do with the filtering. Can't figure it out. I don't get it. Aldridge 35, but either way, it's pretty clearly DeRozan for me. Gurley has done nothing. I appreciate that. That makes me feel better. The dopest Ethiopian, Lou Williams, has just been ruled out 15 minutes ago. But I appreciate you letting us know. Taking away Depot, who's my next favorite pacer? Sabonis. If it's on DK. Bender or AC? Neither. Bender, I guess, but I mean, I don't like either guy. Is fading SGA dangerous? I don't think so. Yeah, maybe dangerous. Maybe I shouldn't be so flippant with that answer. Okay, let's talk about it. Because I think that going through an example will be more important. In lieu of filtering this. So, Gilgeous-Alexander finishes as a top 3 value on FanDuel 74% of the time, which amounts to roughly 50% of the ownership on FanDuel. So I don't think that you should be fully fading him at an 80% number. What I think you should be doing is coming in under, somewhere in the 50 to 60% range. I think there's enough guys that are in that $3,600 range that you don't have to get so cute. And there's not really outside of Karl Anthony Towns, there's not a ton that you desperately need to pay up for. He's the only guy over 10K on FanDuel. So you should have Gilgeous-Alexander if you're playing multiple lineups. If you're playing, let's say you're in a 5 max on FanDuel, I would want to have Gilgeous-Alexander in 3 of those 5. Look, Kemba could break the slate. He finishes in the top 3 34% of the time. He's basically a coin flip for me between Rose, White, and Walker, and that assumes that Teague is in. So you can make a case that Kemba is the 3rd best point guard of the slate. Wow, I didn't realize that Derrick Rose was more expensive than Jeff Teague. That's funny. Could really use a Kamara touchdown. Sabonis over Turner. In a vacuum on FanDuel, I prefer Turner to Sabonis. However, it does get a little bit more murky because of only being able to play one center. I just prefer Harris and Aldridge pretty significantly above Sabonis. So that's why I would be more likely to lean to Turner. Collison easy over Kemba. That's an interesting take. Oh, Sean V. I didn't even notice it was you, man. Collison easily over Kemba. Yeah, I there's no situation where I could agree with you. Breeze drops back. Up top. Ooh, that's PI. No? And he didn't get up looking for that tag. He got cracked. Shit, 4th down. Oh, yeah, Sean Payton is losing his mind. Yeah, he got hit first, right? Yeah, that's fucking pass interference. Oh, my God. How is that not pass interference? He just tackled him before the ball got there. What is happening in that play? Dude, Sean Payton, if that's an NBA game, Sean Payton gets the gate. That is one of the worst non-calls I've ever seen in my life. Wow. That is crazy. This game should be over. They should have 1st down and goal with 1 timeout left. Man, if the Rams win this game, that's some nonsense. Sorry, I know that this is an NBA stream, but it's 5:59. You're a minute from lock. I hit everything I needed to. That is one of the most ridiculous plays I've ever seen in the NFL go uncalled. Holy shit. He's not even looking. He just lights him up. It's the most egregious play I've ever seen. I mean, like, what are they talking? Joe Poznansky. That's the worst call I've seen in some time. Twitter is going bonkers. Andy Glockner. That may be the worst no call on PI I've ever seen. There's no play that's more obvious than that. That is insanity. All right, I'm going to stick around on here until this game ends. That was nuts. We're locked, everybody. We're locked. Like, the Rams now have a fantastic chance to win this game. And in theory, they should have had basically 0 outside of a fluke fumble turnover or a missed 24-yard field goal. Whew. It's the playoffs. They let them play. Kudos. Look, I would really love a Reynolds like monster touchdown here. But yo, they don't deserve that shit one bit. Yeah, I'll stick around till the end of this game. NFL.com. Who do I have in this playoff challenge? Because at this point now, I just got to cheer for one particular guy to do well for DFS purposes. Okay, I got the Rams, so I hope they score. Touchdown Reynolds is what I'm hoping for. Oh, that's Reynolds. That'll work. So what am I cheering for most here? Yeah, Brandon Cooks. Yeah, Cooks or Reynolds would be great here. Josh, when you run, I can answer that. Josh, when you run crunches, how do you know which line is better than the others? You don't. That's kind of the hard part of DFS, is not knowing what's better than others. It's all a balancing act of getting lineups with guys that have good chances to be high value plays for a particular position. But I mean, that's why I play 150 lineups at a time, so that I don't have to hash through that decision. These things are not binary. It's not a yes or no for me. It's very much constant shades of gray. So I feel more comfortable spreading it out. But I mean, on Yahoo, when I'm playing 10 lineups, it's just a concentration of the guys that I expect to do best. This is bonkers. This is absolutely bonkers. Damn, Josh Engelman, you're like a solid 7 to 8 seconds behind on this football team. I'm way more. Well, first of all, the YouTube. Teague active, motherfucker. YouTube's on a delay, and let's just say I'm not watching this on cable. Do I do team stacks on Fantasy Cruncher? Not in basketball. I'm so smart that wait, is Teague really active? Yeah, that's not real news. Darius Solomon. That news did not come through. That is untrue. Am I watching this game? Rams driving? Yeah, man, that's the point. By the way, guys, if he kicks a field goal here, I'm not sticking around for overtime. Can I move this camera? That'll work. Yo, snap the ball, champ. If there's a god in my simulation, he misses this. Ooh, Turner 11%. Yeah, greatly prefer that. Here we go. Third line for OT. God damn it. No, he's not calling a fucking fake field goal. Like terrible. Alrighty, here we go. Snap, hold, kick. Overtime. Alrighty, everybody, that is it. That is the most nonsense, ridiculous, bull nonsense, whatever, ever. Oh my god. Nonsense. Nonsense. Refs should go to jail. All right, let's move my camera back to where it belongs. There we go. Best of luck, everybody. Whether that's in the NFL, whether that's in the NBA, but I'm outie. Adios, everybody. Ooh, sorry for that burp.